don't know if you've ever read Abigail Van Buren's column in the Daily Mirror, but she gets great letters from people. Here's one. Dear Abby, I'm 19 and going with a man named Nick who is 44. The hard way, twice 22. Nick wants to marry me, but my folks think he's too old for me. So far, I've asked the opinion of 9 others. It's 5-4 in Nick's favor. What do you think? And signed, Betty. Abby writes back, Dear Betty, 5-4, and who's pitching? Here's one here that's, Dear Abby, I'm engaged and have 7 charge accounts. My fiancé says that when we're married, I must give them up, as he doesn't believe in buying anything unless you have the cash. I enjoy having charge accounts and don't want to give them up. This has caused many arguments. What should I do? It's not for the answers, not for you. Besides, I'll kill the column for you if I read all the answers. My boyfriend is a college graduate, and I never had a chance to finish high school. I believe in marriage, but he said just having a minister mumble a few words over you doesn't make any difference. It does in our house. Oh. He says he loves me, but he has a chip on it when it comes to marriage. How can I convince him it isn't nice to pretend like we're married if we aren't? We have I had finally got we've been trying to get a passport. We're going Friday for our vacation, which we've been trying for 4.5 years to get a vacation, and something has always come up. And we've been lucky enough to be working. And my father and mother, as you may have heard me say one time or another, are Hungarian. We speak, I understand Hungarian, having been brought up with it, but they speak it, and I don't speak it as well. I can talk to them and everything. And my father said, gee, you're going to the old country, huh? It's wonderful. He said, I said, yeah, it's nice. He said, it's real nice. He says, I'd love to get back. Sometimes see some of my old friends and family and everything. And of course, since then, as we all know, Hungary has fallen behind the Iron Curtain, which is unfortunate because the Hungarians are pretty good people. But the passport finally came today. If you want to get anything, if you want to get the hardest thing in the world, get a passport. Somehow, when I wrote to my hometown, Trenton, for my birth certificate, they put E-A-R-N-E-S-T instead of E-R-N-E-S-T, and they spelled Kovaks with an H on the end, which is a Hungarian way of spelling it. Ernie Kovaks, see? So you go down to the passport bureau, and the fellow, you stand in line for 3 days. Every time something else is wrong, you keep going back, the wrong papers, you wore the wrong suit, little things, you know. So finally, we're all set, and we know how to take the pictures. Edie's been abroad before. I've never been, so she had a picture of herself, and then they said, well, you better take a picture of you and then have your husband and 2 children taken together because you've got a passport. And then they said, of course, on the other hand, so we went down, we took pictures of Edie by herself, Edie with the children, Edie with one child, Edie with the other child, me with one child, me with the other child, me with Edie, me with the 2 children, me by myself. And then we had to go back the next day to get the picture they wanted, all 4 of us in one shot. $11 pictures. Hey, I want to show you the picture here. This is the picture, but there are 2 great things. First, this. And over here is a wonderful little line I think is just great. See if you can read that. Can you get any closer on that? Real tight? No tighter than that? That's it, huh? Yeah. The line says, this passport is not valid for travel in Hungary. After all, but anyway, we've got it. And it just arrived, and I've been waiting for this thing for so long, and I'll lose it. And I know I'll lose it. One other little thing that I want to show you. This looks like Family Day, and I hate to keep shoving my family down your throat, but it just happens to be this way today. This is, as you girls know, there is a McCall's pattern book, which comes out and goes all over. And I'm not making a penny on this. That's Pat Weaver. He wants half. This is the current McCall's pattern book, and These are the children of their mother, and they all have the same dress. And by the way, these are the list of stations that we go to. Oh, it's the first time I knew we went out of New York. I never do that. Yeah. California, and Iowa, and Florida, and Tennessee, and Oklahoma, and Virginia, and Michigan, and U.S. We must write to you folks out there. And now, let me show you something. The other day, I was talking with a young lady who is a stewardess from the Swiss Airlines, flying us down or over or across or however you go to Italy. And I asked her about the food. Did you bring some of this? Oh, here it is, right here. Huh? Wonderful. Here. I have a moment for this, I guess. Right? Yeah, let me set this up here. There we are. It's Miss Deller. D-E-L-L-E-R? Miss Deller. And so I asked her to bring some of the stuff down because the fellows couldn't go with me. There are 47 on the crew. And so we thought we'd bring down some of these are the hors d'oeuvres, Miss Deller?
That's right. Caviar.
BBs. Buckshot, look. And what, this is probably the foie gras?
That's right.
And this is cheese, and this is anchovies. This little salami here. And we go the same way this way, huh?
That's right.
Mm-hmm. All right, and there are a couple trays of that in there. Yeah. Fine, wonderful. We've been eating at a wonderful place, all of us, during the rehearsals. We managed to get wonderful rates there because since the Board of Health closed it down, we go in the back door. Save a fortune. This is the menu, is that it?
Yes.
Caviar. Oh, these are the canapes we just saw, huh? Barbie de fruit, cafe liqueur. Oh, I see you're carrying liquor on board. That's very fine. For the children, of course. Let's see. Champagne. Drink. Well, I get tanked up and they'll give me a cup of hot coffee on the 28th and send me back. Come on, come to it. You got to go to work. Come on. Thank you, Mr. Thank you for coming on. This is one of the actual things that go on the ships. They have the thing right at the airport. The Swiss Air people do, and they just shove us right in the plane and pick up the stuff and off you go. I think one of the most exciting things I have ever seen is the Threepenny Opera. I think it's a beautiful thing. It has some of the most unusual. What do I do my hair today? A little short, isn't it? I can't do Percy. Well, there is one particular song which has become very familiar to all of us from... this is not a cue, Archie. Don't take this as a cue when I give you the title. It's Moritat, which is from the Threepenny Opera, which Satchmo did as Mac the Knight. The gentleman who is our costume designer on the show is Saul Bolazny. And we found out, much to our surprise, that Saul did the cover for the Lotte Lenya, who sings this part. Her husband has written it, of course. And Saul did the oil painting of the cover here, you see. And he is our costume designer. So when we found this out, we asked if he would find something that could come approximately close to it for Edie. So here is Edie Adams singing in German, Moritat, as it is sung in the Threepenny Opera in Germany.
Der Heidi, der hat Seele und die trägt im Gesicht. Und Marquise hat ein Messer, doch das Messer sieht man nicht an dem jeder weiß, wachte auf und war gespannt. Welches war dein Feind? Wagte auf und war gespannt. Welches war dein
Just wonderful. It's real thrilling. I hadn't heard you do that. I hadn't heard the rehearsal or anything. And I hadn't seen the production that our director and producer, Shearer and Craig Cross, playing those things. It's just beautifully done. It's real wonderful. Real good. We are going to bring you something of bygone era on this program today. Also, we will bring you something in the way of a news analyst. Not honestly, of course, but somewhat. What is the school that we have here today?
DS-166.
DS-166? Ugh. How many times have I passed that building? Oh, I didn't get in. I flunked out on the entrance exams. What grade are they from? The 5th grade? I could have gone the 5th if, but I settled for a 4th. Nice to have you. Of course, the remark about the court in the 5th is not directed to the youngsters, but to the people around them. We, who have brought their own, which is awfully nice of you. I thought hip flasks went out in the 20s. It's wonderful to see so many of you here with your corks popping and things like that. So it gives it kind of a warm feeling, doesn't it? It smells like a gym after the 19th hole. Well, we will be back in Eine kleine Ich haben Sie in a moment, and with something about the 20s for you.
What do you do when the rigors of show business get you down? Where do you go to escape the excitement? Martha Ray thinks she has a solution. Take a quick trip to the Bronx and lose yourself in the calm and relaxed atmosphere of Molly's Hideaway. Molly being that marvelously wise head of the household, Molly Goldberg, otherwise known as Gertrude Berg. Martha finds that the Bronx contains its share of tensions. And though her well-meaning hostess tries to make her feel at ease, Martha escapes back to the whirl of show business with her friend Julius LaRosa. Julius, Martha, and Gertrude Berg participate in a medley of songs before the evening is over. Songs by Hugh Martin, best known for such hits as The Boy Next Door, The Trolley Song, and Buckle Down Winsaki. Hugh will be there to play his own numbers, and it looks like another hour of fast-moving, top-notch entertainment. The Martha Ray Show. See it tonight over NBC television.
We have a couple of minutes before we go into our next number. Could we throw some house lights on and perhaps step up there a moment? I understand we're having a little low audio trouble today. If you can't hear us, just holler when you can't hear us. You must have that leak fixed. It's interesting. We have a fellow here that has so many holes in his head, he fingers the holes and became an instrument. We had to hire him. We thought, well, where are these youngsters from the school here? Are these they? Excuse me, are you the teacher?
Yes, I am.
Would you please? Thank you. What is your name?
Miss Gray, Barbara Gray.
And these are all your students?
They're all my pupils.
Uh-huh. What do you teach?
Oh, I teach them whatever they should know, and, well, that's about it. Teach them all the things, teach them an American way of life. Many of them are from other countries, and they're having...
Don't try to get a passport to Hungary, kids. It doesn't work out.
Bill right here.
Oh, really?
Yes, right
Well,
here.
that's wonderful.
And her mother's here, too.
Well, how do you do? How do you do? We must split a cup of sugar someday. May I pass out some Eddie Fisher albums, the RCA Victor Eddie Fisher albums for some youngsters here? 21 complete hits. on one record here. I'll give them to teacher. What do you say? And you can have a raffle or something, and the loser gets the principal. Here, also Beethoven's Fifth, and here you can have that too for the youngsters. Maybe a nice portable record, a radio there. That's the RCA Impact. You can drop it. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. You can drop this on the floor, kids. It won't break. It's an RCA Impact. It's a great radio, and I hope you enjoy it. Thank you. We will get down. That's all right. We'll be all right. Thank you. Mr. Clark, where's Mr. Clark? Cigars, a nickel here on Tuesday, a nickel on Wednesday, and by the end of the week you shoot a quarter. Fooling around like that. We, many of us have seen and recall. I hear the audio's back again. Sounds very good. Well, many of us have seen now. I've got nothing to say. We have seen the Betty Boop cartoons. We all remember those great Betty Boop cartoons, and the wonderful era in which Betty Boop was born. Rudy Valley once sang to a cartoon of Betty Boop in the movies, and then she became quite a cartoon gal. So we thought we might take a little peek into the crystal ball and see if you can remember. I know we all remember Helen Kane so much, who was currently at the Palace Theater, and who sang "I Want to Be Loved by You" in a boop-boop-a-doop style. Now I thought we might look into. Comes, down the lights, and if you look down inside the ball and see something, maybe go back to the 20s, ain't it? You bet, show the pictures, and then we say, you look into the film, you see, and then we go back a few years to the era of Betty Boop. Bathing beauties were showing their wares in Atlantic City, and the current joke of the time was, do you like bathing beauties? Well, I don't know. I never bathed one. Gertrude Ederle, America's most famous lady swimmer, was honored by a ticker tape parade in New York for conquering the English Channel. On shipboard and in ballrooms, the frantic Charleston was popular, danced by ladies in cloche hats and wearing spit curls. It was the big thing, and if you didn't know the Charleston, you didn't know from nothing. There was one of the more intricate steps. You see, fashion took place in here, too. This is a fashion show. As the talkies hit the theaters, and Judge Crater mysteriously disappeared. It was time for entertainment furnished by human flies, dance marathons, flagpole sitters. There goes one now. Quick Henry the Flit, the crowd would shout. Wild and noisy parades. I made that up right on the spur of the moment. Erskine Caldwell's Tobacco Road was the book, and naturally enough, Helen Kane, the gal who did the boop-boop-a-doop things, was there.
I wanna be loved by you, just you, and nobody else but you. I wanna be loved by you, love, you do. I want by you, just you, and nobody else but you. I wanna be kissed by you, love, you boop boop. I couldn't buy you to anything higher than abilities higher to make you like I wanna be loved by you, just you, and nobody else but you. I wanna be loved by you, ba-do-ba-do-ba-do-ba-do, boop-boop-ba-do,
That is Edie Adams, who did Moritat a little earlier on the program. No versatility, that's the trouble with her. She only do one thing, she's in a rut.
I'll read the question, then you'll have 30 seconds to think it over. Are you ready, Sergeant? Well, that's how it starts. The fast-paced hour-long comedy about a large type quiz program and what happens to one of its big winners. Playwrights 56 presents Georgianne Johnson and Larry Blyden in the riotous account of how Sergeant Barney Bender rose to the heights in television and came up with the answers to the $80,000 question. What happens to him as a result of all this is the subject of You Sometimes Get Rich. Sergeant Bender finds that winning $80,000 can lead to all sorts of complications. Some of them financial, but most of them involving other things. Other things like autographs, endorsements, screen tests, and so on. Until he wonders whether just being a GI wouldn't be a much better idea. It's an hour of delightful satire that's offered to you on Playwrights 56. See it tonight over NBC television.
Viewers the news regularly, accurately, and swiftly. Now, the different stations bring you the same news regularly, accurately, and swiftly, that it keeps each station in a constant state of activity, trying to present a news analyst with a dynamic personality. Surround him by an atmosphere of tension and excitement to make each news item become a thing of feverish intensity. So now we bring you NBC's contribution to the world of news. That dramatic, knowledgeable, and personable news analyst, Leroy L. Leroy, W. Bascom McFinister.
Good morning. This is Leroy L. Leroy, W. Bascom McFinister. With the news, behind the news, behind the news, behind the news. News flashes and up-to-the-minute news highlights. Brought to you as they happen, while they happen, before they happen, with a personalized news analyst by Leroy L. Leroy, W. Bascom McFinister. Now for the news. From all over the place and the world. We'll be hearing from that spot in just a moment. And now, what kind of a day is it going to be? We take you now to Union City, New Jersey. The world of sports. Things were really whirling today in Union City, New Jersey. In this normally placid community, which goes back to ancient times, if you only knew it, little Tommy Harkness had 8 1/2, unrolled his yo-yo yesterday evening at the local yo-yo contest in preparation to entering the finals in the Nationals, and dropped his yo-yo down the sewer. Now, continuing with the news, behind the news as it happens before it happens. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to make some brief but very much to the point remarks about the current situation in Egypt. This analysis may not be to your liking. You may disapprove or disagree with what I say. However, Leroy L. Leroy, W. Bascom McFinister speaks out. Our correspondent on the scene covering events as they happen before they happen in Egypt, land of the pharaohs, reports that the situation is in a digressive and peremptory state of flux, and that something may or may not happen soon, which may or may not, which is dependent on the individual reaction, of course, which in turn, of course, is a basic one. And this may or may not materially affect some of the things, but not all, and are already in something of a status quo. That is the opinion of Leroy L. Leroy, W. Bascom McFinister. Of course, on the other hand, things may work out differently. But now I see by the hands on the old clock on the wall that it's time for a word from our sponsor. I have a message for you ladies. Ladies, what does the name Mercedes Kozlovsky mean to you? I'll tell you what it means to you, for you know what it means to you. It means the finest in feminine footwear. The Mercedes Kozlovsky shoe is just not an everyday high-heeled, hastily designed foot covering. The Mercedes Kozlovsky shoe is a thing of beauty, true, but Miss Kozlovsky was aiming for more than just haphazard attractiveness when she designed the Kozlovsky shoe. Mercedes Kozlovsky set out to create a shoe that would not only look beautiful and be breathtaking in its styling, coloring, and sheer artistry, but would bring that other component of footwear to the lady consumer. Mercedes Kozlovsky shoes are not only high in beauty, but they are high in comfort. And now for one closing line. Date line. Elizabeth, New Jersey. In Elizabeth this morning, Mrs. Reginald Granger went as usual to the corner bakery to buy a dozen rolls. Remember that name. Mrs. Reginald Granger. And remember the purchase. A dozen rolls. It was 10 this morning when Mrs. Reginald Granger, age 42, height 6 feet 2 inches, left her home in the small suburbs of Elizabeth. She went to the corner bakery to purchase a dozen rolls. At 11:15, she was seen talking to a small boy carrying a basket of guava jelly. At precisely 12:14 of the same day, but I see it's time for a word from our sponsor. Remember, for the best in foot comfort, it's Mercedes Kozlovsky. And now, good night from your newscaster and news analyst, Leroy W. Bascom McFinister, with the news of the day.
Bobby Rosengarten, who is with us while his parole is still functioning.
I want to thank Barry Shear and Perry Cross. All the guys in the camera.
It's been the Ernie Kovaks Show, directed by Barry Shear, produced by
Never mind the
Perry
Ernie
Cross.
Kovaks Show. The guys on the cameras were great.
That's correct, sir. Bill Wendell and Manny will be with us again.
An Army sergeant is asked the biggest question of his life in a famous TV quiz on Playwrights 56 tonight, NBC television.